Hi, hello. Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
hello.
Can
Hello,
you hear me?
everybody.
Yes. Hi. Everyone. Welcome to Pspj monthly meeting for the May 2021. So, because of the MCO 3.0, the sudden announcement of MCO, so our guest speaker, actually he will attend the physical meeting, but due to this sudden MCO, so he cannot make it. So we are sorry that the guest speaker cannot be with us today. So and but no, don't worry, we have two beloved members willing to share their great photos today. Okay, so welcome PC Lu and Ellen Wei. Okay,
Hello.
clap,
Hello.
everyone clap. uh, so because we clapping cannot see or hear, so just click your like and love to show your love to our PSPJ members. uh, okay, no further ado, let's start with PC Lu. PC Lu, you may start your sharing today.
Hello. I'm PC Lu. Let me start the share. Yep. Can you hear this? Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay, this is the first time I'm actually giving tutorial. I have not given any tutorial before, so let me know if I'm going too fast or too slow. And if you have any questions, you can ask. I will try to answer them. Okay, I'm not an expert and still learning photography. I'm still learning about my camera and experimenting it. Today, I will present what I have learned about the basic operation of my cameras. Before going into details of the operation, there are a few things that you will need to know first. As I go along, I will point out the important point so that you can remember them and practice them later on. Today, I will go through the following topics. Why my camera modes, the basic, what is ISO, what is shutter speed, aperture, focal length, and depth of field. Why do I choose this topic, my camera, and not your camera? If it is your camera, I'm probably not interested in knowing what it does or how it is operated. If it is my camera, I want to know everything about it. I will try to learn all about it, all the settings, and how it is operated, so that I do not have to think what to do and what to set up when I want to take a photo. Automatically, I will know how to hold, where to turn, and when to press the shutter. If you own a camera, it is time now to learn your camera inside out so that it becomes easy for you to use later. When you pick up your camera, you don't have to think about the settings. You know, just respond what is in front of you. In order to arrive this goal, you will need to understand each of the key controls of your camera. When you are learning or reading your manual, make sure your camera is in front of you. You will need to keep practicing and go out and shoot more. Next, camera modes. Depending on your camera and the make of the camera, each camera will have different modes. These are the basic camera modes that is available. First is auto, then you have the P, which is program mode, A, aperture priority. Some cameras will show as AV, which is aperture value, the S mode, shutter priority. Some show as TV, time value, and M mode, which is manual mode. In my presentation today, I will not mention about ISO setting. I assume it is set to auto. This is my camera dial setting. On the left is actually my Olympus EM1 Mark II, and most of the Olympus cameras will have this setting. On the right is the Olympus EM1X, and also some of the EM1, the newer models, EM1 Mark III and the EM1 Mark IV will have this setting. It is important to understand what each mode does and how it affects your image.
Pspj,
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt. Can you go to previous screen?
Previous screen.
Just a quick question, and this is my question. I'm interested to the Olympus camera, whereby I can see what is the ART mode.
It's actually art mode is actually a predefined art like portrait. It's preset setting. Yeah, you have portrait. You have night mode. You have there have about, I think about 20 over modes there you can try out.
Oh, okay. This is I see this. This is only on Olympus, or
I'm not sure about other cameras.
okay.
Last time previously when I was using Nikon, I think I have not seen this mode before.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So, any audience have a question, you can comment and I'll read it to Pspj to answer. Okay, thank you.
I'll go on the auto mode. In auto mode, it lets the camera chooses the optimum shutter speed, aperture, ISO, and flash setting if your flash is used for your shoot. All you need is point and shoot. This is the easiest mode and is good if you have no idea what setting to choose, and also when you need to shoot quickly. The shot is correctly exposed as the day is well lit, meaning if the place is well lighted up, not too bright and not too dark, then you will have a correctly exposed image. Auto exposure may struggle in situations where the light is uneven. Example, you have a sun directly in front of your camera or behind a subject, then you will have a dark subject and you may need a flash to lighten up the subject. In short, in auto mode, you just need to point and shoot, and hopefully you get a good image. So far, I have not used this mode before, so maybe some of you who have used this mode can tell me how good it is. And next is the P mode. P mode lets the camera automatically adjust a picture and shutter speed for optimum exposure, but the photographer can choose from different combination of aperture and shutter speed that will produce the same exposure. This means that camera still sets the exposure for you. It chooses the correct aperture and shutter speed combo that you choose for the light available so that your shot is correctly exposed. Depending on camera modes, in my camera, I'm able to change the ISO setting and also the aperture value, and the camera do the rest. It is like auto mode that accepts input from the photographer. Different camera brand and model may have different aperture and shutter speed combination. Next, in program mode, in other words, there are many combination of aperture and shutter speed that produce the same exposure. For example, if the right exposure is set at f4 and shutter speed at 1/250, then the correct exposure will also be achieved if you increase the f number to f5.6 while slowing your shutter speed to 1/125 second. And also the same goes to f8 and 1/60 second and f11 and 1/30 second. This chart gives the combination of the aperture and shutter speed that will produce the same exposure as f4 and 1/250 second. This is known as flexible program, sometimes referred to program exposure or program automatic mode. Next, A mode, aperture priority mode. This allows the photographer to choose the aperture, and the camera automatically adjusts shutter speed for optimum exposure. It allows the user to set specific aperture value, the f number, while the camera selects the shutter speed to match it. That will result in proper exposure based on the lighting condition and measured by the camera's light meter. In my camera, when ISO is set to auto, I only need to think about the right aperture needed, and the camera will do the rest. Most people will use this mode because the range of shutter speed available for the camera to select is more than sufficient for shooting lighting condition. There's a point to take note here. This aperture actually will affect depth of field. Lower f number, smaller depth of field, and higher f number will give wider depth of field. I will explain later on more on depth of field in the depth of field topic. This is a sample of depth of field. This picture is taken using f6.3 set at ISO 200. You can see the branch at the back is a bit blur. When you compare to this, same setting, ISO 200, and set to aperture f22. You can see the branch is clearer. Next, shutter speed. Shutter priority allows the user to choose specific shutter speed while the camera adjusts the aperture to ensure correct exposure. When the ISO is set to auto, then user only needs to think about the correct shutter speed to use. Shutter priority with longer exposure is chosen to impress of motion. Moving object is blurred. Short exposure can ensure the motion is frozen in the resulting image. However, given that the range of shutter speed available is extremely large, for example, from 30 seconds to longer, or 1/4,000 seconds or higher. Under certain conditions, there may be shutter speeds at which no possible aperture setting could be produced optimum exposure. For example, if ISO is fixed at 100 and you select a fast shutter speed such as 1/4,000 seconds for a dark interior shot, the time the image sensor will be exposed to light will be too short for optimum exposure, even if the lowest f number is used to ensure that the image that falls on the sensor during the time is as bright as possible, and the photograph will be too dark or underexposed. On the other hand, if you select a slow shutter speed such as 1 second or slower in a brightly lit outdoor shoot, the time the image sensor will be exposed to light will be too long, or optimum exposure even if the largest f number is used. To ensure that the image that falls on the image sensor during that time is as dark as possible, and the photograph will be too bright or overexposed. Point to take note here is shutter speed affects sharpness or blurs of the image. Shutter speed also affects ambient light, that is available light. Longer exposure will have more ambient light, brighter background, and while shorter exposure will have less ambient light, which is darker background. This is an example of the water being freeze. This is taken with shutter speed set at 1/800 second at ISO 200, and the background is also dark because of the shutter speed, which is quite high. Compared to this, same setting, ISO 200, set to 1/2 second, you can see the water flowing and the background is brighter. Next, before I go further, notice that the previous mode, the P mode, S mode, and the A mode exposure, the camera actually tries to automatically adjust for optimum results. Whereas in M mode, manual mode, the user manually sets the shutter speed, aperture, ISO. That means the user has full control of the camera. Start using this mode to learn how each setting affects your image. Later, you will know which mode is best for you depending on what you are shooting. This mode is generally used in situation where the camera has a hard time figuring out the correct exposure in extreme lighting. Example, when you are photographing in snow, the camera might incorrectly guess the exposure and either overexpose it or underexpose it. This mode is also useful for consistency photographing. Example, in panorama, where you need to stitch your photo later. You will need to have a consistent exposure, otherwise some of the part of the photo will be darker and the rest lighter. Choosing the wrong combination could, however, result in photographs that are too bright overexposed or too dark underexposed. Therefore, it is recommended to use the camera exposure indicator as the guide when choosing aperture or shutter speed. The guide is actually the horizontal bar below the viewfinder. This photograph shows on the bottom right-hand side, there's a bar which shows -3 that is underexposed. You can choose this so that it is in the middle. That is the camera estimated as correct exposure, unless the photographer decides to have a different, you want slightly darker or you want slightly brighter. Now this is a photograph also on waterfall frozen, set at 1/60 second in manual mode at f5. Compared to this, which is 1/2 second at f22. So in summary of the 4 modes, P mode, program mode, the camera selects both the shutter and the shutter speed and the aperture. In S mode, shutter priority, the photographer selects the shutter speed, whereas the camera will select the aperture. In A mode, aperture priority mode, photographer selects the aperture, camera will select the shutter speed. In M mode, manual mode, the photographer select both the shutter speed and aperture and also controls the ISO. Okay, the basic of photography. What is ISO? ISO stands for International Organization for Standardization. It is not an organization actually. It is formed by two combination of 2 standards, the ASA standard and the DIN standard. ISO initially defined only to film sensitivity. It was later adopted by digital camera manufacturers with the purpose of maintaining similar brightness levels as the film. ISO controls the camera sensitivity to light. A low ISO setting means the camera will be less sensitive to light, while a higher ISO means it will be more sensitive to light. Lower ISO image is darker, higher ISO image will be brighter. However, the quality of the image will be decreased as the ISO increase. And you may notice noise or grain on the image with high ISO. Nowadays, some of this noise can be corrected by post-processing. An ISO setting of 100 or 200 is usually ideal when shooting outdoors. At night or indoors, a higher ISO of 400 to 800 or even higher might be necessary. Well, this is the old time. If you remember, when you buy a frame, you have to, there's a specification of ASA and the DIN value. The ASA 100, 21 DIN. Nowadays, it is called ISO. Next, shutter speed. The basic. I have explained some of the shutter priority in short. Shutter speed controls how long the shutter stays open when you take a photo. The longer the shutter stays open, the more light gets through to the camera sensor. As fast shutter speed is good for freezing action, while a longer shutter speed will blur motion. Long shutter speeds can create interesting effects, but usually require a tripod. As I said earlier, shutter speeds affect ambient light. Fast shutter speed, less ambient light, gives dark background. And slower shutter speed allows more ambient light, so you have brighter background. This is a chart taken from Wikipedia. It shows the shutter speed or exposure time is the length of time when the film or digital sensor inside the camera is exposed to light. Also, when a camera shutters open when taking a photograph. The amount of light that reaches the frame or image is proportional to the exposure time. Normally, when you increase f number, you will need to slower the shutter speed. If you select bigger f number, the darker the background, the smaller f number, the brighter the background. And faster shutter speed freezes motion, and slower shutter speed blur motion. Next, aperture. What is aperture? Aperture is the opening in your lens and controls how much light gets through the camera sensor. A wider aperture indicated by a lower f number lets more light through. A narrow aperture, higher f number, lets less light through. A wide aperture is great when you want to isolate your subject, like you take a bokeh photo. But when you want a more scene, the whole scene to be in focus, as like you're taking a group photo, you will need to use narrow aperture. Aperture is expressed with an f number written as f/, then a number. This chart shows aperture of f1.4 towards the right until f8, which is smaller. This diagram shows of decreasing aperture, that is increasing the f numbers in one stop increment. Each aperture has half the light gathering area of the previous one. f2 will have half the light of f1.4, and f2.8 will have half the light of f2. Therefore, f2.8 will have quarter light of f1.4. The point to take note here, aperture affects depth of field. Lower f number, smaller depth of field. Higher f number, wider depth of field. This is a picture showing the depth of field. This is taken with f2.8, 1/4 second, ISO 400. You can see behind the camera is our focus. Compared to this, same setting at f22, you can see the back of the camera is actually more in focus. Okay, why the camera have different f numbers? Some shows, my picture earlier on shows that I was taken in f6.3, whereas this lens does not have f6.3. A picture started with one full stop scale, like this one, this manual lens. Each click is one stop. From f2 to f2.8 is one full stop. f2.8 to f4 is one full stop. So f2 to f4 is two full stop. This chart shows one full stop scale. Common term with bigger f number on the left are called small aperture or close down, sometimes stop down or slow aperture. As you set to larger aperture, smaller f number to the right, this will allow more light to the image sensor and has less depth of field. Smaller f number are referred to as large aperture or wide aperture, sometimes wide aperture or fast aperture. As you increase the f number to the left, less light will reach the sensor and have more depth of field. This chart shows the three different types of f number scale. Some digital cameras allows you to select which scale you like. On the top shows the formula calculating the f numbers. I will not go into the formulas. The top chart shows one full stop scale. Each scale is one stop. For example, from f1.0 to f1.4 is one stop. The middle row shows half stop scale. In between one stop from f1.0 to f1.4, there is one more value which is half stop value, f1.2. So instead of f1.0 to f1.4, you will have f1.0, f1.2, and f1.4, and so forth. In the bottom row is 1/3 stop scale. Between one stop from f1.0 to f1.4, there are two extra values. You will have 1/3 value of f1.0. So you have f1.0, f1.1, f1.2, and f1.4. The values are all rounded off. Detailed calculation is given in the formula. I will not go through. If you're interested, you can Google it. Next is the lens f number system. This f number is different from the aperture f number scale. The formula is given as above. The f number n is equal to f, the focal length, divided by d, the diameter of the lens. For example, if the lens focal length is 10 mm and the lens diameter is 5 mm, the f number will be 2. So you have the 10 mm f2 lens. The same goes to 50 mm f2 lens, 100 mm f4 lens, and others. Next, focal length. As indicated by the formula earlier, what is focal length? Focal length is the measurement of distance in millimeter between the optical central of the lens and the camera sensor or the film plane. It is determined by the camera focus to infinity. As shown in the diagram, a lens has many elements or group of elements. Optical center is the center point of all the lens elements. After this point, the image will appear as reverse in the camera. It is a calculation of optical distance from the point where the light rays converge to form a sharp image of an object to the digital sensor or a 35 mm film at the focal plane in the camera. Lenses are marked by their focal length. Like this lens, it is marked as 45 mm lens. Same goes to you have 17 mm, 25 mm, 300 mm lens. Lens focal length tells the angle of view, how much the scene is captured, and the magnification of the image. In case you are interested, this is the formula for focal length. You can Google it more for yourself. Point to take note here is, given the same setting, the focal length affects depth of field. In short, focal length lens, say like 25 mm, focus at 5 meter, set at f4, has a deeper depth of field, perhaps from 3 meters in front and 20 meters behind, then the longer focal length, say 300 mm, also set at f4, focus at 5 meter. This is a sample photo taken aperture f8, ISO 200, shutter speed 1/80 second. I'm using a 400 mm lens here. Compared to this photo, same setting at 100 mm, aperture f8, ISO 200. You can see this is much more in focus. Next, what is depth of field? Depth of field is the distance between the nearest and the furthest object that are in acceptable sharp in an image. As shown in the diagram on the top, less object in distance that are in focus is called narrow depth of field. More objects in distance that are in focus is called wide or large depth of field, shown in the bottom diagram. Does distance control depth of field? Yes. The closer your subject to the camera, the shallower your depth of field. Therefore, moving away from your subject will deepen your depth of field. This is not a good way to achieve depth of field by moving in front or moving backwards from the subject. I will rather change my lens, change the focal length to get the depth of field you want. Next. Both the picture you got, on both the picture, that I showed earlier, the 100 mm lens and the 400 mm lens, one is wider, you have more, you capture more area, and the other one is narrower. So to get the same angle, you will, from a 100 mm lens, you will have to walk closer to get the same picture. But remember, when you walk closer, the depth of field gets lesser to get the same image of the angle view. You also have to consider the nearest or the minimum focus distance of the lens. Some lens may not achieve the same angle of view. Limitation of depth of field can sometimes be overcome with various techniques or equipment. So it is now time for you to go out and experiment. The more you practice and shoot, the more you become better. Is there any questions?
Let me check for you. So far, no question.
So in conclusion, today you have learned the basic camera mode, the auto mode, the P mode, program mode, the A mode, aperture priority, the S mode, shutter speed priority, the M mode, manual mode, and also you know what is ISO, aperture, shutter speed, and how it affects your image.
So, PC,
Yep.
just some question from me.
Uh-huh.
So you say normally you use M mode. Is it manual mode?
Manual mode.
So what?
Currently, I'm using most of the time manual mode so that you can know the settings when you change your shutter speed, when you change your aperture, you know how it affects your image light.
So a lot of new beginner, I mean newbie, the person
I will
who's
suggest for
starting
them to start manual
learning
mode.
the
Yes, you learn how the settings affects your image so that later on you can know in what situation, let's say you don't have time to set shutter speed, you know depth of field is more important to you, so you can switch on to aperture priority. Or if shutter speed is more important to you and you don't have time to set aperture, then you switch on to your shutter speed priority mode.
Oh, okay. So any tips for beginner?
Shoot more, practice more, learn your camera settings.
You mean read the whole manual book?
No need lah. You can start. Yeah, as long as you know the basic, how ISO, aperture, shutter speed affects your image, then you can actually start from there. You can adjust and then practice.
Okay, we have a new question coming in from Harley. He asked effect of a flash or external lights on setting.
Pardon?
He asked effect of a flash or external lights on setting. I'm not sure the question.
If I'm not mistaken, he's asking the ambient light.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, the shutter speed actually affects your ambient light. That means the slower shutter speed, you have more brighter background, and you have darker background if you have faster shutter speed. If you use a flash to lighten your subject, if you know what is your aperture value, you fix that aperture with the manual flashlight power. The flashlight power, if you set manually, the light will not affect the background. It will only it will have a correct exposure on the subject. So you can make use of your shutter speed to control whether you want a brighter background or darker background.
So I think hopefully this answer the Hardy's question. So oh yeah.
Sorry, I think if I interpret correctly, I think Harley is trying to ask whether what will be the effect like if you you add a flash or the external lighting on your current setting.
Which setting?
That means
priority, shutter speed priority.
Okay, without a flash, you can make the setting, right? So when you add the flash, what will be the effect of this flash will affect your current setting? I believe that's his question.
Okay, if it's in aperture priority or shutter speed priority, when you add the flash, and if you set it to TTL, the camera actually adjusts it for you. There is no difference. You choose your aperture in aperture priority, and you choose your shutter speed in shutter priority. The camera will adjust the correct exposure for you. If you're talking about manual mode, if you use a flash, then I will prefer, if you set the TTL, if you set shutter speed or aperture, the camera actually will tell the flashlight, if you have the correct matching flashlight, it will expose correctly for you. If you use manual mode in your flash, then you have to get the correct power to lighten up your subject. Then you can set your shutter speed fast or slow to adjust the background. I hope this answers.
Okay. You see, this a question from me. So for the new beginner, I mean for beginner, they always have a question. How to use the flash to combine with the ambient light together? How you manage both
Okay.
lighting?
If
Normally,
I were to-
according to your own experience.
okay, if I were to use a flash, I will actually set the flash to manual mode, set to quarter power or full power. Then I adjust the aperture. I set the aperture priority, get the aperture correct for the subject. Once you know what aperture is correct, exposure for the subject, and the manual flash power, then you can switch it to manual mode, set the aperture that you have set earlier on with the same manual power on the flash, and then you set your shutter speed to control the ambient light.
Yeah, I think this is a popular question among the beginners. So we have a new question from ID. What is the best books for beginner photographers?
I would say you start with manual mode so that you can play around with all the settings and then to see how it affects your image. Then you can learn from there. Of course, if you don't have time, then switch it to auto mode. You don't have to think. You just point and shoot.
Okay, I think this one, hopefully this can answer the question. Let me check other question. Okay, so far no other question. Let me see. Okay, so far no other question. So you do you have any ending to highlight?
Not much, except if you want to know, you can actually use a 400 mm to take a good bokeh photograph like this one. This is taken with my 400 mm lens, f6.3, shutter speed 125 second.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank
you, PC. Yeah, for your sharing. This is I think this is a PC Lu's advanced sharing. Just now I see a lot of mathematical formulas. Completely not the basic one. I no idea how to calculate that, but I think he managed to calculate. So if anyone have a more question, you can message. You can contact PC Lu to ask questions. Later on.
Okay.
So okay. So coming up next, we have okay. Thank you, PC Lu to do a sharing today. So hopefully in the future we have a physical meeting, then you can do the actual sharing again. Thank you.
Welcome.
So Ellen,
Hello,
Ellen.
hi.
Yeah, you hear? Okay, I hear you.
Okay,
So okay. So Ellen, today what's the thing you're going to share?
yeah, hello everybody. I'm Ellen Hui here. I'm going to share today the beauty of underwater world, something that we don't normally share during the
Yeah, good.
PSPJ session. Yeah.
Okay.
So I hope you will enjoy it. Let me click on the share screen first. Yeah.
So everyone clapping. No, don't clap. Just click like and love.
Right. Let me just make sure this is happening. Okay. Can everybody see it? David, can you see?
Yes.
All right. Today my topic is beauty of underwater world. I would like to introduce myself, a little bit of myself, how I get involved in this underwater photography. In fact, I pick up scuba diving as my hobby, and at first I was like enjoying myself, try to admiring the underwater world, what I can see from down there. But most of the time I see big stuff like shark, big fish, and that really mesmerizing me, right? But then slowly I learned that there are more things to see. That means there are some things, some animals, some small little creatures that is lying around us, but we didn't get to see them unless we find them, right? It's to me, those creatures they are more interesting when you get closer and see them. In general, you will in if you for those people who haven't dived before, I do not know whether you would think of what you see in the underwater world is like what you see in the aquarium, right? But actually, it's not. In the underwater world, if you are below 5 meters, they have enough ambient light for you to see clearly. The colors are beautiful, the fish are beautiful, and just like when you do snorkeling, you can see all the colors are in there. But the deeper that you go down, the light is disappearing. Then you will see only barely, like if you like as if you're doing photo editing, you are actually the saturation is going down, and the first color gone in as you go deeper is the red color. It's the red color. So most of the time, what you see in the underwater world is blue, green, maybe brownish, depending on the amount of ambient light that can penetrate through the water, then you only can see the colors of the sea or the bottom. All right. So, how I get into underwater photography is because when I follow my dive buddies to go diving, and I didn't take any camera, and my buddies was taking camera. She took some photos. I didn't really check it out what she's taking, but the minute when we surface and we check out the photos, I can see things that she's taking has a lot more detail from what my naked eyes can see. So which that amazed me, and I really want to because when you see from your naked eyes, the color's gone. The true colors of the sea critters is gone. It's like bluish, green, grayish, brownish. It is kind of color, unless you have enough ambient light, and unless you are diving at the shallow water, then you can see all the colors beautifully in front of you. So that makes me curious about things that I'm seeing if go deeper than 5 meters, right? So that's why I started growing interest in underwater photography. That's where I started. And the pictures that I'm showing to you here is normally taken during my leisure diving with my friends. and we are always going in group and never dive solo, which is also not safe to dive solo. And the difference about having a solo diving trip and leisure diving trip is different. If for a professional scuba underwater photographer, usually they will hire a guide, a dive guide. Then they probably go to one spot and they probably found a subject, and he will probably just stay put there for maybe 5-10 minutes or even half an hour just to photograph that particular subject, right? Just like when you do land photographing, you go for a macro subject, you spend longer time just to take that macro subject and in whatever modes that you want, right? So the same thing goes with the professional underwaterographer. But for me, I am not a professional photographer. I'm just going there for my to enjoy myself with my dive buddies. I have my leisure diving in group. So when I go with them, some of them they don't take camera, some of them they take camera like me. So those taking cameras will take turns to take on the subject. And of course, we don't stay put on one spot for too long. That means maybe the most 5 minutes, 2 to 5 minutes, right? So we see some people, they see the subject and then, okay, I want to see something else, then we move on. So this is how leisure diving is doing. And the challenge here of taking underwater photos under these circumstances is you are not left more time to actually making good of your photos. That means you cannot stay there for too long, because otherwise your group has left you and you'll be left alone. Then the minute when you look up, everybody has gone, right? So the photos I'm taking here, the challenge for me here is more likely is I have to take the photos as quickly as possible. And also people have to take in the fact that people are waiting behind me to check out the subject that I'm seeing, right? So this is called leisure diving. So far, the diving places I have covered besides Malaysia, I think I covered Tioman, Perhentian, Tenggo, Sibadan. That's the one is obvious, and also Langkayan in Sandakan. For other than Malaysia, I have covered. I like to go more to Indonesia places like the Lembeh Street, very famous of mud diving macros. For macro stuff, macro means it's very tiny living thing that you have to shoot it like an ant size, or maybe a hair strain of the, it looks like a hair strain size of the critters, right? So Lembeh, Bali, you can take big stuff like mola mola. Bali also have a lot of mud diving as well. I have even covered as far to Timor-Leste, East Timor, and also Alor, okay, for Indonesia. So for Thailand and Philippines as well, there are some places in there also have covered that, most likely. I never go beyond Southeast Asia. Not, actually, I have done once, which is in Oman. Yeah, I was invited to do to go to promote to support their tourism, underwater tourism in Oman. So that is the only one time that I step up from Southeast Asia. Okay, without further ado, let me get on. I'm going to show you 3 parts. I have wide angle shooting for one, mostly underwater world sceneries. The second is also underwater sceneries, but with the divers included in. It's also a wide angle shots. The third one would be the macro shots and some of the critters, which I don't use any macro lens or wide angle lens, just a normal lenses, built-in lenses with my camera. Before I get to the first slide, I just would like to let you know that the camera that I'm using is actually a compact camera. Canon G16. I'm equipped with Nauticam housing. It's a metal housing. You need to put your camera into a metal housing in order to capture the photos that I'm going to show you later. Okay, you have any other questions about this? Maybe you can ask me later. Let me quickly show you that. Okay. The Jacques Yves Cousteau says Jacques Yves Cousteau is a French sea explorer. He is the one that is created the aqualung, which allow us to use it to breathe underwater and to check out the underwater world. What he says here is the sea, when it casts its spell, holds one in its net of wonder forever. Meaning to say that I think that's very much explains by itself. I think if you haven't explored the underwater world yet, perhaps through the journey of that you're going to take later, maybe you grow some interest in underwater photography. Then perhaps you can ask me more about how to take part in scuba diving, right? Okay. This is taken in the ambient depth. That means you can still see the surface with the light trying to penetrate through. So you can see the colors of the fishes and the corals, right? And the abundant fishes here. This is another one that shows the abundant fishes playing around on the coral, around the coral bed. This is another shot of the wide angle. If you can understand how this shot is taken, is actually we don't get the fishes to stay to pose for us. Usually we don't actually. It's impossible. So it's something like you chance upon it when you dive through when you do the diving and you come across groups of fishes swimming past very fast. And then there are fishes, like in this photo, there is a bigger fish on top of the fish passing by. In fact, I want to take the big fish, perhaps, but I noticed there are some school of fish, small fish, swimming around it. So that's why I have taken a few shots, and this shot has been taken. Next one. This photo shows that where I was in then, I was surrounded by a school of fishes. So it's so different from looking from aquarium. Actually, when you need to be there to actually experience yourself, what's the feeling like to be surrounded by fishes, and they just swim around you, right? And this shots was taken at least expected. Why? Because if you can tell from the photo, the fishes are swimming in one direction and they swim very fast. So when I was surrounded by fishes like this, normally I will make sure that my setting will have a faster shutter speed, getting ready, just in case the fish sometimes they will swim like a synchronized version. When they swim like a synchronized version, they will do it like a flash. They just swim across very fast. And then this is the time when I captured it. So you can see this is the fishes. I don't know, maybe they communicated, they have some kind of frequency, they know they have to swim fast in one direction. This is what they did, and I managed to capture it. And you can see the whole picture is covered by the fishes. There's no end of it. It's a fantastic experience. Okay, next one is the colorful corals on the seabed, and you can see some sea tree, and then you can see divers at the end. For me, for wide angle shoots, I would prefer to add some divers in it if possible, as much as possible. So this wide angle shot also when I shot from down to top, where I can see the sun, the sunburst there. But you can't see the sunburst, you can't shot the sunburst as if you are shooting in the land photography, because when you shoot underwater, the medium, it's different from shooting on land. Shooting on land is the medium is air, right? And in underwater, the medium is water. So the light penetrates through the water and it diffuse it. Yeah. So this is when I realized there are a lot of fishes swimming around me, and I see the sun was above, and I just try to shot from underneath to the top. This is the effect I get. Okay. This is another one that is shot. I won't say it's really ambient depth, because sometimes the visibility of the water is good, it's clear, even though it's more than 5 meter, probably 10 meter, 50 meter, and the lights is bright on top. And when the visibility in the water is very clear, you can still get this effect. Yeah. Otherwise, if the visibility is murky and not clear, then probably you will not get this clear. The clarity will be affected. Next, we have this, I noticed that is this coral fish swimming around. Sometimes it's very tricky for me whether I can get it or not, because the fish are moving, constantly moving. They are not posing still for me. So this is one lucky shot I can get for this coral fish. And if you notice, there's a bubbles behind. Those are my buddies, divers. They are doing, they're swimming in front of me, and the air bubbles that they came out will actually show in the pictures as well in the background. This is a turtle. I get lucky with this shot because there are some rays of light showering down to the seabed, and I happen to bump into this turtle, and the turtle is not afraid of human beings. It just swim towards me. But of course, it will not collide. This is a rather big turtle. When it swim towards me, I won't move. The turtle will just swerve away to the avoid colliding to me on head on. It will just swerve away. So this is as close I can get for a wide angle shot. If you know, the wide angle shot is quite far. Of course I crop a little bit this one, but it's not much. The turtle actually swam towards me quite close. Next is the what do I call this fish? This the bumphead parrotfish. I remember I took this shot in Sibadan. Okay, Sibadan is famous of all the marine critters, and a lot of the marine critters are in schools. That means they come in groups, right? And this particular bumphead parrotfish, which we have the underwater sign like this, they come in school. Okay, so but you don't normally chance upon them. But sometimes at the hours that you think that they will come out to have wandering around during the morning time, you get the best chance to meet them, right? So sometimes for divers, when they want to meet this group of bumphead parrotfish, they will actually purposely make the morning dive trip just to check whether they can chance upon them or not. And if we get lucky, we chance upon them. This is where the photography opportunity light. During then, I think I can see from far, the group is moving, and we are lucky we are in their passing path. So I just wait there. I wait there until they comes towards us, and then they just don't bother us. They just mind their own business and swim past, right? So this is the time where I took the pictures. This is another angle of palmhead parrotfish, where they will definitely won't head on collided with me. They will try to avoid me, and this is the part where they swam across on top of me. And I like this shot because actually you can see a little bit of the lighting on above. This is another turtle shot.
Ellen,
Yeah.
sorry, interrupt for a while. I have question for you from the comments.
Okay.
So the first question from Harvey, he asked, is it expensive to acquire the gears and travel plus diving courses plus underwater lighting? This is first question. The second one from Jen Sang, what camera do you use? Okay.
Okay, for Harley's question, I think expensive or not, it depends on your interest. Just like in land photography, you would like to choose a compact camera, you want to choose a DSLR camera or mirrorless camera. This is the amount of investment that you'll be expected to put in. So the camera is the same. Like if you own your camera now, you just need to find another housing. You need to keep your camera into the housing so that the water won't penetrate into it, so that your camera is safe, right? So that housing will cost you for DSLR camera ranging from 8,000 to maybe sometimes 16,000 for the housing. Just like you can get manufacturers or OEM housing at a much cheaper rate, but you can also get a very much high quality metal housing by a branded, a reputable operator make. Then it will cost you more. So it depends on how you want it, right? So the gear you can, let's say you have now your camera like Nikon D750, let's say you have this Nikon camera, you can actually look for a compatible housing that can allow your camera to fit into your housing. The only tricky part is if you use a certain make of camera, you must go with that particular housing that compatible with your make, right? If you want to change camera, then you need to look for another housing. That means you are going to incur another cost, right? So that is and with your choices, that determines the amount of investment that you're going to put in for your underwater photography gear. Okay. And the lighting, yes, lighting is very, very important, especially for underwater photography, because the only lacking in underwater is lighting. There's no sun in the water. Yeah, only when you are at the ambient depth. Ambient depth means the depth where the ambient light can comes in. Then you can see all the true colors of the marine animals. Further below, you cannot see the true colors because there's no light. The red color is the first color gone. Yeah, from all the other colors, you don't see the red color. You see only grayish color, brownish color, and blue and green, and that's all you see the colors. So you need the lighting to actually shine on the critters, and also to the so that you can get the true colors from the critters. So the lighting itself also depends on the quality, the power of the lighting, how much you want to invest. You're ready to invest. We have video lights. Video lights, I mean, you can shoot video and use these video lights. If one light is not enough, then you have two lights, and these two lights will be mounted on the arm and together with a camera, and these two lights will be like shining through all the way, on all the way. So this is called video light. And the other light is more like a flashlight, where it sync together with your camera. The minute you press your shutter, it flash, and that is a light that, how strong is the light is depends on the distance from your camera with the marine critters. Yeah. So the lighting also there's a wide variety of range about it. So it depends how much you want to invest. You're ready to invest. Okay. For the camera that I'm using now is Canon G16. It's a compact camera. Because scuba diving is my hobby, I am tempted to use a DSLR to shoot the underwater pictures. But I'm so used to using a compact camera now, where compact camera can give me some flexibility. For example, the compact camera has already a built-in lenses, and they can shoot close, they can shoot far, right? I just need some additional accessory, for example, a wider lens or a macro lens to actually mount it externally on my housing to get the wider view of the before I take the wide angle pictures, and also to get a much closer close-up photo for those tiny creatures. That is for the wide angle lens and also the macro lens. For DSLR, you can have a better quality of the pictures, like I show you, even better than the one that I'm showing you, because I have limitation in the compact camera. The smallest aperture I can go is only f8. It's not even f11. Yeah, unless I want to change my camera. If I change my camera, I have to change my housing, and etc. etc. If for DSLR, if you start off with DSLR, then you can get a housing of DSLR, and then your DSLR has much more better features, much larger sensor. Then you can get a much better quality of the photos. Yeah. Sorry, just one more thing. One more thing to add. For DSLR user, you need to decide. You cannot be as you cannot get the best of both worlds. You cannot like, I want to shoot macro, then I immediately switch to macro. I want to shoot wide angle, I immediately shoot wide angle. For DSLR user, you need to decide before you get into the water what photos that you're going to take. Wide angle, then you have to mount your wide angle lens onto your housing. If only macro that you want to shoot, then you have to mount your macro lens into your camera and put into the housing. That means the minute when you go down to the water, you cannot change your mind. I can only shoot macro now for this diving trip, for this dive. There's a difference between using compact camera and using DSLR. Yeah.
Okay. Ellen, quick question from myself.
Yeah.
What is the most popular camera for scuba diving? You know, I mean, when you do scuba diving, you heard a lot of cameras. What is the most popular one?
The popular brands, there's no best camera, but most popular, commonly popular brands are the Nikon, Canon, and Olympus. Lately, the trend is Olympus. And
any particular
Sony.
model?
No, actually. It depends on your individual taste and preference. Yeah. Because if you are so used to use a Sony camera, then you can use a Sony camera. In fact, nowadays the technology is so advanced. You know, Sony camera can provide this, Canon also can provide this, but there are some underwater photography review on the cameras that you can take reference of from the site. So you can actually Google search for the camera review for underwater photography. Then you can get more information from there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So this one, I would like to say that I actually got a shock when I took this picture, because I was looking around and I didn't know the turtle actually want to pass by me so close. So close, it's almost hit on me. The fin, I mean, his hand almost hit on me. So this is really close wide angle shot that I can get, and I didn't get his full body though because he was passing by. Yeah. So, but I like this picture. Yeah. And the next one is the one is a shark. It's a nurse shark. If you can tell that this is also shot by wide angle, and you can see the white fin is where I am. I'm using a white fin, and my buddy is using the yellow fin. You can see how close the nurse shark is with us. It's actually ambushing from behind. I was actually facing the other side. Then I realized that there's shark ambushing from behind. So I have to turn around and I see this shark is coming from behind us. So I took the shot with that awkward angle. And this photo just shows you how close we are with the nurse shark. Okay, this one is taken in Maldives. It's one of the biggest manta in the underwater. Manta, I think if you know stingray, is the stingray family. So manta is the biggest of the ray family. Yeah, so it has the remora fish. There's attaching with them. Sometimes this fish will also attach with the sharks. You can easily find them attached with the shark. This was taken at night. Yeah, it was taken at night near our boat, where there is a flashlight. They are attracted by the flashlight from the boat, so they're swimming towards the light. So that's how you manage to capture this. Next one, I'm not sure you're familiar with this critter. Is blue spotted stingray. It's another ray. As blue spotted stingray found resting in sort of like a cave-in shelter. And then the interesting part is I saw the nudibranch as one small blue color nudibranch hanging upside down on top of the cave-in. Okay, this is another picture where the fishes are found swimming around the corals. A lucky shot for me for this shot, because you know that fish don't do posing. There is this the Nemo, so-called your Nemo fish is at the back. We call it clownfish. It just happened to appear from the coral bed, from the soft corals, and then there just happened that at that juncture a school of fish swimming past. So this is also a chance upon shot for me for this wide angle shot. Okay, I like to include some divers in the wide angle shots sometimes because I like to see the scale, and I like to see people element in the photos. Underwater photos or even land photo, I like to see people included in. So this is one of the this also shows you how diverse what are the scuba gears they are wearing. And then this photo also shows you one of the diver has the underwater camera and housing. Is holding the flashlight on top of his arm. So you can see clearer that this is the setup the diver normally take. This is quite a simple setup. It's not a DSLR. The now popular dive camera using by beginners and all even including the pros as a backup camera is the Olympus TAF TG6, TG5, TG6, Olympus TG6 or TG5. Yeah. So because they have, it's very popular among the divers. So for those who are interested to start with diving, when you are getting all the buoyancy all right and you are comfortable diving in the water, you can start considering picking up Olympus camera to start with your adventure of underwater photography. Yeah, and this guy on the left is a dive guide. You can see he's holding a torchlight. And he's showing us what he sees. So it is up to the diver whether he wants to take the picture or not. Because underwater photographing, one of the things that is most interesting is like the critters are everywhere, but they are not showing you. You can't see them from your naked eyes. You need to find them. To me, it's more like a treasure hunting. So I enjoy that kind of treasure hunting. You don't know what you are going to see later. Yeah, so it's always unpredictable, unexpected. And in this photograph, you can see I purposely take this. Actually, I also saw there's a silhouette of the boat on top of the water. So you can see this is, if I can tell carefully, I think this one is taken in Philippines, because you can see the shape of the boat is having the two wings on the two sides. These are the typical dive boat we have in Philippines. Yeah, we are exploring actually at that time on the wreck. Some of the wreck, they have this kind of metal what do you call it, this cage like thingy. Yeah, so you can, as you can see, they have corals that have been growing on top of the metal rods. So this is another one angle I shot. This one just a random shot for me, for my divers in the trip. My dive buddies are all in this trip, and then also with some of the coral bed that I'm filming on it. I could have chose a better coral garden to shoot this, but this is a random shot for me. This one, sometimes when you do diving, right, before you bump into another creatures, or before you see something interesting, so sometimes I will take chances to take a look at my surrounding and see whether I have a sun there, I have divers there, then I can take a picture of a diver with the sun as a background. Next, this is something interesting I came across, because I seldom see a ball like with some corals, a boulder with such round boulder like this, and of course with the corals growing on top of it, it makes it look like very beautiful. Yeah, so I can't resist of not taking a picture of this beautiful boulder, and of course I would like to include a diver inside. Next, I have a diver at the background, but I have also the hard coral. We call it brain coral. It looks like a brain. We call it brain coral. It's a hard coral. That means it's very hard. It's not a soft coral. Next one is this is the common scene when we are about to surface to get to our boat, and to ascend to get to our boat. Okay, so if it's on a shiny day, this is a good photography opportunity for me, because you can see the sun bright out there, and you can see the boat with the ladder putting down for us to step up to the boat, and the visibility of the water also quite clear, and you can see far where there's one diver very near the ladder. You can see it quite clearly as well. So this is sometimes if the visibility is bad, it's not a good photography opportunity. So not all the time you bump into the conditions of photography must be all met before you take this picture. Yeah, sometimes you get to see interesting formation of the coral. Then I usually for me, I would prefer to add 1 or 2 divers into it to make the picture look more interesting. So this is one of the capture I've taken. This is my dive buddy. We were diving at this site where there's schools of yellow tail fish, school of them. They were swimming around, roaming here and by. Then my dive buddies want to get near to see them, to enjoy, to experience, to be surrounded by the fishes. So she moved in, so I quickly take a picture of her. This is another wide angle shot where I saw these hard corals, and I want to take a picture for this hard coral, and I have already visualized I have a diver swimming past. I don't know in what way, but I didn't ask them to pose for me. I'm just waiting for my buddy to swim past. It just happened that one of my buddies swimming past. He's swimming past me. I'm the last one, so I just take the just wait and take this shot once it swim past. So this is, and then there's some buddies already in front of us. You can see from the bubbles in front. This is also my buddy, my dive buddy. We are swimming past an area where there's a lot of soft corals. So you can see it's like they're blooming. The coral garden is blooming. So many attached, they stay close to one another. So and I really like this shot because and I just changed a little bit on the just a little bit on the white balance to make it more like a lavender light. I hope you like it. But personal preference, I didn't do much changes on it, only the small white balance. This one, the diver in the picture is not my buddy. She's with another group. We happen, sometimes we bump into dive groups in the water. You have this group swimming on the same spot together, but sometimes we move away after that, right? So but for this photo taken, this diver was so excited. He's just seeing this group of fish. She just want to swim towards, have the kind of experience of swimming into it. So when she did that, I just took the opportunity to take this picture, and she's like flying into it. Okay, the next picture is also around the same spot. The school of fish is so huge. Actually, we spend more time just to experience, just to feel surrounded by these fishes, and we really enjoy seeing them swimming freely and happily. And for this picture, when the fish tend to stick together in a group, so sometimes they form a formation, sometimes they group themselves and just spinning on the same spot together. So for this one, I have my other divers in this picture. They're interested to find out more, to get closer, to experience the feeling. So that's how I take this picture. I'm just not taking only the ball of fish, but also including the divers to show the scale also. I hope you enjoy this one. And this is my buddy. Because we are how to say, we love the experience so much. We don't mind spending longer time just to watch these fishes, because you seldom come across a big school of fishes in our dives, right? So when we spend time admiring the fishes like this, forming all sort of formations, we sometimes just just stay put in the water and just watch. So this is exactly the example of my dive buddy. She's just watching it, watching the fishes, how to form the formation, how they swim around, So this is the time where I took this picture. Yeah, I love this picture actually. Another one to show you is the cabbage coral. Cabbage coral is a hard coral. Cabbage coral can be very huge. This is a giant cabbage coral. So to show the scale, you can see the divers on top of it. And the giant coral, I need to use this wide angle, wide enough, and also I have to step back further to actually take this picture. If the visibility of the water is not clear, I will not be able to achieve this effect, especially when the fish is swimming inside it. You cannot see clearly the fish inside the cabbage coral, right? So it's also coupled with the visibility of the water. It helps me to achieve a clarity of this shot. This one is the turtle. When we bump into turtles, sometimes they are resting, they are taking bites to the corals. Sometimes you will find that they start moving up, the chin up, and then they start moving up. They want to ascend to the surface of the water to catch some breath. So turtle on and off, they have to go up to the surface to catch some breath. So in this picture, the turtle is on the way to go to the surface of the to get some air, right? So I didn't chase after the turtle, but the turtle, sorry. But I have a dive buddy who is trying to get a closer up photo of that turtle. So he's chasing it, and I'm taking the turtle with the divers in the picture. In the water, there's a lot of different variety types of corals. And one of the interesting colors of the corals is this something like a bush-like corals, like lalang like that. But the colors is very interesting. It's a pleasing pink, orange, red combination of it. Yeah, sometimes it can be a sharp pink, sharp red, you know. I always, when I see this kind of coral, I always like to get ready and stand by and see if there's any other divers swimming past, any divers in action swimming past. So in this case, I saw one diver swim just in the background, but it's not in the position I want. But I don't have much choice because they don't post for me. So I just take the picture. This is the best I can get. It would have been nicer if the diver in silhouette would be a bit further away from the corals, but yeah, under that circumstances, this is the best I can get. Yeah. This is my buddy. I was swimming in front of her, and she was behind me. I saw this starfish. This starfish is extraordinary big, huge, and fat. I like this starfish, and I want to capture this starfish, but I don't normally like to capture one subject without a diver. So I signal her to, can you swim across? She didn't know what she's seeing, because at her angle, she haven't seen the starfish yet. So when she's swimming closer to me, then I'll take the picture of her and the starfish. And I like this picture. The starfish is big enough, huge. Okay, this is the last wide angle picture with the divers that I want to show you, because this is we call it jet seaplane. It's a World War II plane, I think, was down in the sea bottom. Okay, you can still see the propeller here in front of in the picture. There's some divers in the background, swimming across, checking out the wreck of the seaplane. This one is taken in Palau, where it's a Japanese seaplane, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I hope I get my fact right. Anyway, the visibility of the water is not really superb, but I took this as a wide angle shot, and the light that I can shine on it is only reaching the propeller. So the rest behind the propeller is all not so colorful. You can see if the light didn't shine on the places where the light didn't shine, it all appears in blue, green or gray or brown color. Yeah, this is exactly what you see, deeper when the ambient light cannot get in. Okay, I'm finishing my wide angle shot. Before I go to critters and macro, any more questions that I need to ask? I've answered, sorry.
Let me check for you. A lot of good comments. Beautiful, excellent, amazing, underwater world. Love your photo, Ellen. Awesome. Oh, just one question from James Tang. He asked, what is the average depth of your dives and how much time do you spend in your dive?
Very good question, James. Before I get into the point of his question, I'd like to explain that usually for dive trips, we normally do 3 dives a day. 2 dives in the morning, 1 dive in the afternoon. So because the accumulation of the nitrogen level is getting higher and higher towards the end of the dive, so that's why normally we do deep dives in the first trip, and second dives moderate depth, and the third dives will be hovering between 15 meter, no more than 50 meter or something like that, around there. So the beginning of the dive will be a deeper dive. We'll go down to probably 30 over, 20 over or 30 over meter depth of dive. First dive in the of the day. After it will last us about, normally we dive about 45 minutes to 1 hour, depending on your balance of your compressed air left in your tank. So when we hit 50 bar, we measure the compressed air in pressure. When it hit 50 bar, we need to signal getting ready to ascend. We use this signage to ascend, and then to 5 meter, and from 5 to 3 meter. So 5 meter, and then you have to stay at 5 meter, and then get a 3-minute safety stop to ease up the accumulation of your nitrogen in your body. Okay, so so that's first dive. Second dive would be around 20 meter, no more than 30 meter. Yeah, try not to go to 30 meter. If you go 30 meter deeper, you need to come up very fast. That means you need to spend more time in the 10 to 20 meter range there before you ascend and end the trip, end the dive. The third dive would be more leisure dive, because you have so much of nitrogen level in your body. You need to give them some time to get out from your body. So normally we don't go too deep. It's more like a leisure dive. We hang around about 15 meter, 10 to 15 meter. So then during that trip, that dive, the shallower depth you dive, the longer you can have to enjoy your air. That means your air will not go out so fast, right? Will not run out so fast. So you can hit probably an hour, sometimes a little bit more than an hour before you go up. Also, it depends on whether are you breathing too fast, or if you suffer from hyperventilation, you keep on taking the air too fast, then of course the compressed air will run out very fast. So that also depends on other factors like this. Yeah, I hope I answered the question. Yeah, for macro, that is normally the time that we spend in diving. Any more questions? Okay, let's move on to critters and macro. This is you see, because of the MCO, it's been a long time I haven't get into diving. I almost forget all the names of the critters already. This is hairy frogfish, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, because of the wonderful hairstyle that he has. So that's why I like to capture these critters when it's in fury. The hairstyle is like in fury. So yeah, and the mouth also ajar, so it makes it look more interesting in terms of expression. Yeah, and the hairstyle is interesting. Okay, next one I want to show you is the cuttlefish. Yeah, the cuttlefish. This one I took it from Oman, where you can see two different expression of the cuttlefish. One is like cool and steady. The other one is like is about to behave of something big, which I do not know what. Yeah, want to do hunting or what? I don't know. But it was an interesting expression, behavior. So I am happy that I managed to take this shot. This is a lionfish. I think if I'm not mistaken, I took this at night. Although the background is black, it doesn't mean that the shot is taken at night. Sometimes at a certain depth of the water and the lighting cannot penetrate down to the bottom. Sometimes you get a little bit darker background, so you cannot tell whether this is from day shot or night shot. But this one is a smaller lionfish, and my light can only shine through to that part, and the rest of the part will be in the darker shade. So that makes it more contrast and stand out. This one is a ghost pipefish. You will notice the interesting part of this marine animal is the fish is upside down. The eye is actually at the bottom, the fins on top. Normally they swim that way. They don't swim topwards. They swim face down. Yeah, so that is the interesting part of this ghost pipefish. We call it ghost pipefish. So there are a variety of them actually in all different patterns. This is one of the pattern, and this is one of the smaller ghost pipefish. And I like the background of it. So and the brightness of the pattern against the background, it forms a contrast. And this one, you won't believe where I find this if you are not a diver. Actually, these two are goby fish, lemon goby, and they were found in an abandoned glass bottle. Yeah, this is the opening of the glass bottle. They are coming out they are curious to check out what's happening out there. So that expression seems very much telling me this lah. So their eyes wide open. So I thought there's only one of them, but to my pleasant surprise, there are two of them in the bottle, and they just came out and greet me. So I took this picture. But they won't stay there for long, because the minute they come out, they will go straight back in and then come back again, come out. You know, it's playing hide and seek with you. So you just need to wait for them to appear again before you take this picture. Yeah, so you need a little bit more patience to wait and then take this picture. And in this case, you need to use a macro because the goby fish is actually very small. This is, I call it sheep moody. It's a sheep moody. In layman terms, it's not in their scientific term. For divers, we normally say, did you see the sheep moody there? Because this is one of our favorite critters that we like to see, because it's so cute and it looks like a sheep, right? So normally you'll find them in their habitat. Their habitat is on a small piece of leaves in the sea bottom, and they're so small. You need to actually check out where at the back or the front of the leaf to find whether they are there or not. Sometimes you don't see any of them, but sometimes if you see them, then you start getting ready your camera and the setting is right, and macro lens must be put on. You don't use a macro lens, you can't even see them. Yeah, and sometimes they keep their heads down, keep on shying, they keep their heads down, they don't show you their eyes, they don't show you their face, they keep on moving like that with the head down. So you need to be a bit patient to wait for them. And for divers, normally our code and ethics is do not go and touch the marine animals. Do not go and disturb it. You cannot only see, no touch. Yeah, so we can only spend our time waiting patiently for it's turning around, hoping that it's turning around to see me, that kind of thing. So it takes some time and patience in order to take pictures of them, looking at your camera, lifting up their head, So it's not easy just to shoot just like that. You need to really wait there, especially for small little critter. Sometimes the tricky part is for this ship moody, they will come to the edge of the leaf and then they go straight down underneath the other side of the leaf. Then you cannot see them already. Yeah. Okay. The next one is this one is a zebra crab, if I'm not mistaken. It's captured in the soft coral. Usually you can find them in this habitat on what do you call that? This fire. I can't remember the habitat name, but it's in a coral. So you can see the two eyes on top of it. And this one, the crab itself, is actually very small. I use macro lens to shoot this, so you can see more detail of it and its habitat. For this is a pink eye goby. It's very rare to see, very rare to come across. If you see it, for me, when I see it, I have no hesitation to take a few more pictures of it. Funny enough, when I take this picture, there's another picture of this pink eye goby with their eyes. The one that's supposed in black now, it turns into white. I'm not sure. I don't see any eyelid, but this is how they flip their eyes, perhaps. But it's interesting to note that, yeah. But pink eye goby is a very rare to come across. So sometimes when we found it, we are celebrating that, oh, we found this pink eye goby. This is a very it's a close-up shot. It's through macro lens. Usually, when you shoot with macro lens, the depth of field is shallow. So we have to be careful when we shoot small, tiny things like the pink eye goby. Yeah, otherwise you can't get. The only thing is you must get the eyes very clear. If the eyes is not clear, then the rest are blur. Okay, this one is Lambert sea dragon. Lambert sea dragon is also a close-up shot, and the photo does not justify its size. Its size is like your hair strand. Your hair strand, your hair strand, and is on the coral. Only for those eagle eye dive guide, they show us. I even have to spend time and look carefully before I can take the picture, because if they don't move, you can hardly tell where they are. But normally the hair like a hair strand, it will move like that. It just move like that, like a pendulum, move like that. So when it moves like that, you immediately spot it. Then you can only focus on this Lambert sea dragon. You can only see the detail from your macro lens. Otherwise, you cannot see, especially when the lighting is not helping. Okay, this one is the close-up of critter's eye, the eyeball. Yeah. This eyeball, I can tell you, is capturing from this animal. We call this crocodile fish. Yeah. And this is a crocodile fish. in where you can find it from the sea. It's a it's a it's a it's a bigger animal, much bigger. It's lay flat on the ground. I'm not just interested to take the entire picture, but I'm also interested to take only the eye as well. So just like this one. When I get closer to it, I'll only take the eye because its eyes has an interesting pattern that that is good for the picture. Next is the flamboyant cuttlefish. Yeah, flamboyant cuttlefish, you can only find it in Indonesia water or probably Philippine waters. Recently we found it in Malaysian water as well, in Tioman. Yeah. Earlier on, we thought it's only found in Indonesian water and Philippine waters. But now, yeah, I think I saw it somewhere where Tioman has found one. Yeah. So the closer up to it is you can see the eye and the behavior of the flamboyant cuttlefish. Why we call it flamboyant cuttlefish? Because of the colors. Cuttlefish itself is this is more colorful than the normal cuttlefish. So when it's putting up defense and all that, it will have all the colors all shown up from the body. This is another shot of the flamboyant cuttlefish. And this one is the nudie. We have all sort of variety of nudies in just like a snail without the shell. We call it nudie. It's a soft sea slug. Yeah. So it's found in the water. They have all sort of different patterns and colors in the sea. Then it's up to us to go and find. Sometimes they walk past you. You miss them. It's pretty normal because you don't really see them because they're so small. And then the colors not so appealing unless you take the picture with the light, torchlight or the flashlight flash of them. Then you can see the colors. Yeah. And this is a small fish that's hovering around a sea pen. A sea pen is a plant that is you found in the sea bed. Sometimes you come across it, sometimes you don't. If you found a sea pen, you can actually try to find out whether if there is anything that use the sea pen as their habitat. Yeah, this fish just happened to be hovering around it. This is flatworm. This is a flatworm. A flatworm is a very soft sea slug where the head can actually mold into different shape according what it likes. Yeah. So this flatworm happens to have some yellow dot on his body. Yeah. For macro shot, normally I go near and just shoot it when it forms a head, and I like the white dot of his body to become like a yellow circles, bubbles, and make it look interesting. And this one is the juvenile scorpion fish, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a baby-like stage. This is so small. And you look at in the background, I have a metal rod behind it. We call it pointer. The pointer is the one for us to use it to catch catch people's attention on the situation you're in. For example, you want to catch somebody's attention, you normally use this pointer to hit on your tank, your compressed air tank, and then when you hit, there's a sound and you capture your body's attention. So this stick, I'm using it to actually form a scale in this picture to show that how small this fish is. This is another type of nudie, and I like the colors and the pattern of it. For your information, divers always love to look out nudies because they are all in different colors and patterns. So this is another form of nudie. Oh, But this one is the pygmy pygmy cuttlefish. Yeah, pygmy squid. Okay, pygmy squid. Sorry, pygmy squid. Pygmy means small, right? So this is the leaves. The green color are all the leaves. It's just hanging around the leaves. So it actually don't stick there forever. It moves around. So the minute when I wait for it to land on it, and when it paused, then I quickly take this picture. The next second, it will move away. This is a harlequin shrimp, a very interesting shrimp. You can see at the back there, there's the tail of the shrimp. The orange color part, the red color part of the thing is the egg. This one is carries eggs. Can you spot the eyes? The eyes is somewhere here. Next one is the pygmy seahorse. It's another interesting subject where all the diver would like to take. This pygmy seahorse, usually you found it in about 20 over meter depth of water, and it was very well camouflaged together with the rest in its habitat. So it's not easy to find. Usually the dive guide help us to spot it out for us, and then show us this is the pygmy seahorse, and then we have to start getting ready to shoot this pygmy seahorse. Another thing to note is you must be careful not to damage the habitat this critter is in, because we always have to be careful not to touch and not to damage anything that we see, because it's their backyard. So if you cannot catch it clearly, you just have to go. And your air level, your compressed air is not sufficient for you to continue staying on, then you just have to go. You cannot stay too long at 20 over meter depth of water, because otherwise you'll be in danger of decompression. Okay, so this one is either you can take it, you cannot take it. Sometimes this seahorse is very shy. Usually the head will keep on going down. You can want to come up. So the minute when it goes up, then you immediately have to take it. So you only sometimes I don't get much lucky shots on this sort of pygmy seahorse. I only have a few clear shots of this animal. It's very difficult to take. Yeah. Next one is another type of nudie. As I said, nudie comes in all forms and colors and patterns, and this is one of the nudies that we found. Okay, let me show you something interesting here. We found a transparent, the dive showed us a transparent tube, semi-transparent, I would say, almost transparent. These are the stuff that we see from there when you do a close-up. This photo is taken close-up. That means you use a macro lens to go further in and see what's going on inside the tube. So apparently these are the baby squid. Yeah, they are forming. Okay, so they are come to the stage where take another week's time or another 2-3 days time, there will be a hatch, right? So a closer look at them, you can see some of the dirt, the sand particles on top of the tube. Okay, if you get closer look at them, it's like an alien. Yeah, that's a closer look at them. Okay, so this one is another nudie shot where you can see it likes to feed on with all this small little bubble coral. Another shot of the nudie, a different type of nudie. If you can tell, this is another new nudie that I'm showing you now. The interesting part for this shot is where it's about to open up its is skirting. Skirting is like flipping up the skirt and then want to go down. So you can see it's like, to me, it's like Marilyn Monroe holding down the skirt flying up like that kind of situation. Yeah. This is another seahorse, yellow, tawny seahorse. Tawny means it has some thorns there. You can see some thorns there on the seahorse. Tawny seahorse, and also a very shy critter. So he keep on facing the back to me. That means when I try to shoot him, it show its back to me. So, but then he also, probably he's curious. I'm not sure. I cannot read his mind. Maybe he's curious also. He wants to turn around and see whether I'm still around. So this is the part where I see the eyes, the head coming out a bit and then seeing me, then I capture it. Yeah, I like this shot very much. This is another nudie, just to show you there are hundreds, maybe 1,000 types of nudies. This is another type of nudies in shallow depth of field. Another type of nudie. This is a transparent shrimp in a bubble coral. They normally hide inside the bubble coral. That means the bubble means like a balloon. Can you imagine the balloons that you are surrounded with the balloons, that you are inside the balloon? So this is like the bubble corals that the shrimp is inside the bubble coral. I like to present it in this black and white manner, because I just like to show the outline of the shrimp, and it's framed within the bubbles. This is another critter called hairy orangutan crab. It's an orangutan crab, but it's hairy because there's some hair, fine hair around on his body. So when we see this, we know that we are seeing the orangutan crab. It's normally, I like to take this shot together when it's in the habitat, not just the shot of the orangutan crab alone. Okay. And this one is the one of those clownfish, and it's hiding itself, very shy, don't want to come out to see us. But at the same time, it's very curious whether we have gone away already or not. So I was just waiting until his head pop out, then I capture it. Next one is the seahorse. It's also a tawny seahorse. This shot's taken because there's no corals in the background, so it's an infinity kind of thing. There's nothing blocked in between, so that's why it's very good to contrast it out from this photo. This is another type of nudie. The two tanduk that you see, we call it rhinopause. The rhinopause is their symbolic feature of a nudie branch nudie. This one is the world's most venomous animal. So far, there's nothing can neutralize the poison yet. Nothing is made available yet for that. So it's called blue ring octopus. Yeah. So you can see all the blue color ring-like thing shown on its body. So it's very, very, very poisonous. Do not get bitten by it. Yeah. So normally we stay a safe distance from it, but we are always mesmerized by its beauty. So we always cannot resist to take a picture of it. This one is a wonderpus. Wonderpus is a sort of like an octopus family, but it's very much beautiful in the sense that, you know, it's in orange-like color, and the pattern, and the tentacles you can see is in the background. And this one is another type of sheep nudie, which I shown you earlier. This is another type found in the same habitat. So there will be different types of ship nudie that you can find. This is very cute. I think this would be the last one, if I'm not mistaken, to share. This is also a pygmy seahorse in its own habitat. You can see that they are trying to camouflage themselves in their own habitat. This pygmy seahorse is called the Denise pygmy seahorse. Yeah. It would have been nice if I can show its face inside the dark background, but unfortunately, this is not something I can control. It's just this is just one of my best shot taken on that day. Yeah. There's no posing, you can't get it posed or something like that. So for me, I tried my best this time. Hopefully I can get a better picture next time. Yeah. This is the last one, sorry. This will be the last macro pictures I'm going to share with you. This is also the pygmy squid, which I showed you earlier with the green color leaves. The same pygmy squid, but it's in the open. And then that's the end of my sharing. Thank you very much. I hope you enjoy all the pictures. I know it's a bit more. I hope you enjoy the pictures along the way. Any questions? Sorry, hi Debbie.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hi. Yes, can, Debbie. Now I can hear you. It's a bit silent just now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, this is your end of your slide.
Yep.
Okay. Let me see other question. Oh, the gemstones asked how much it costs for diving license and diving equipment. Have you answered that already?
No, not yet. I think
The average cost per diving trip.
Sorry, for the how much is the license? I think you need to get the license to dive before you go diving, of course. I think from what I heard, the range is about 1,006, if I'm not mistaken, to complete the entire open water qualification, open water license. That means including the dive trips, your four dives, four dives, and also the theory examination and also a field trip. So I think it's about 1,006 in total, and you can break down the cost into, just taking the theory examination first in the confined pool water, or then later on you will go for the field trips and pay the other part. It's up to the dive center how they charge you, but I think overall total should be around 1,006 for open water.
Okay. Yeah, I think no other question.
Let me check on. For Adi's question of for underwater photography, is it better shoot with macro lens? It's up to a person's preference. Some people, they only like macro shooting. They just like to discover the detail of the small creatures which on naked eyes you cannot see. You cannot see what's the detail in it, and you cannot see the true colors of the critters. So that's why this a lot of underwater photographers, they like to they love macro shooting. So it depends on the individual's taste and preference. Yeah.
Oh, just one question from me.
Ah.
So, is the divers that carry two cameras if they want wide and macro?
Okay. I did try, but it's very difficult because when you dive in the water, it's not just like when you do the land photography when you can step in anywhere and can start shooting anywhere you like. Because in the water, you need to have other factors to consider. For example, whether there's a current there, you need to make sure the safety comes first before all the shooting. Yeah, even though the critters comes very rare species for you, you are so excited. You know that you will not come across these particular creatures anymore. Not in the near future. Maybe not in the near future. You can only chance upon it. So even though under that circumstances, you just have to choose to take it next time because your safety must come first. Yeah, some people, they get too engrossed in taking the photographs. They forgot to check on their the air level, how much left in the air, how long they have been staying in the bottom. So that will pose a danger to the health, the safety of the diver. So if you take two cameras down, you if you are in the current, you may have to look after your another camera as well. Where are you going to put your another camera? Yeah, so you have to make sure that you have your regulator, your mouthpiece is fixed to your mouth. Yeah, this is your lifeline. You're breathing your air all the time. If something happen, you know there's a pointer in front of you. You can actually land yourself somewhere before you're being swept away by the current or in a very unstable environment. So that's why it's not that you cannot take two cameras down, not advisable. Yeah, so for DSLR user, you can decide, unless you're very confident you can take good care of yourself very safely. But yeah, normally we don't advise them. Then you bang on the hard corals and the rock underneath the underneath the sea, or you're diving in an unstable environment, then will actually damage your underwater housing, your expensive equipment. Then you're risking of doing that.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
So let me check. I think there's no other question.
For the fun part of using compact camera, just one more thing that I need to clarify. Fun part of using the compact camera is when you fix it on the housing, outside the housing, there's some screw. You can screw up the external lens, which is the macro lens or the wide angle lens. Then you can screw it up, or you can use the magnet to tap it on top of it when you want to shoot a wide angle, when you want to shoot a macro lens. This is what I have been doing, so I can take the best of both worlds at the same time. The only challenge is I have limitations in the photo quality because I'm using a compact camera. My aperture only goes to the smallest f8 only, so I cannot stretch beyond that. So this is I can only make good use of the resources that I have. If you use a DSLR camera or a mirrorless camera, of course the photo quality will be much better. But the limitation is they can only decide what kind of shooting they want to go down. Either macro shooting for this time, next shooting is wide angle dive. Then they have to change on land before they go down to the water. For compact camera, you can make use of the external lens, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Very good tip.
Okay. I hope you like it.
Yeah. Everyone like it, not only me.
No, everyone, in fact.
So okay, let me check. Oh, there's no other questions. So I think we come to the end of your sharing session.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
For the great session. I remember last time you also said the scuba diving photos. We received a lot of comments, good comments, of course.
Thank you very
compliment
much.
the members, and they also looking forward to have a physical meeting and your sharing as well.
Yeah, if you have any further question, you can message me, or
Yes.
maybe when we meet in Harmony Hall next time, you can
Yeah.
come and have a chat
Anyone
with
have
me. Yeah.
the scuba diving photography questions, you can message Ellen directly. So she's willing to answer that. And okay, so
Thank you so much for your time.
I think we reached the end of today's monthly meeting. So hopefully everyone take care to stay safe from the COVID-19. So we thank Isilu and Ellen Hui today for their great sharing. And hopefully we see you guys next time. So okay, so this is the end of our session for the monthly meeting of May 2021. Okay, see you guys. Bye.